$9 per hour to over $175,000 per year. That is the increase in salary that I've had just over the last few years. And if you want to understand how you can do the same for yourself, then please watch this video carefully. What's inside here is going to help you out tremendously. Now look, I'm not some guru, I'm not some impeccable engineer or anything like that, but I can share exactly why, in my experience, I was able to increase my income by this much. Probably not why you think. Everybody thinks, oh, you need to be a better coder and you need to be able to type code faster and solve that faster and this faster. But in reality, that's just not the case. And I'll tell you my personal experience. So in my first job, I was making $15 an hour. For somebody with no experience, this was actually great pay for me. Share actually what I was doing at this company. In my first job in tech, I was actually only earning $15 an hour, which at the time was a lot of money for me. But why wasn't I earning $30? Why wasn't I earning $40, $50, $175,000 a year? Well, it's very simple. The reality was, one, I didn't have much experience, and two, so I didn't contribute much business value to them. And why? Because the problems I solved only impacted their business by, say, a few $100s a month, okay? So in this first role, they paid me $15 an hour, which works out to, I don't know, 40 times 15 times 4, like 2.4K a month. So in reality, it's like I might have made them some money on a long-term horizon, but I just wasn't super valuable to them, okay? In my second role, I started earning $30 an hour roughly. Why was I making more? All of a sudden, I had more experience, which meant I could solve problems faster. All right. In this role, I wasn't actually solving super critical problems for the business. I was prototyping crypto vending machines, right? So machines, which if it was picked up by their internal team could potentially make them a lot of money. So this is not a great example, but it starts to get the gears turning in your head of like, okay, what's possible? So say you pay an intern, $10,000 for this crypto machine. Well, if one of their real engineers, one of their full-time or like experienced engineers goes and builds something, well, it could potentially make them millions of dollars, right? And this is how you can kind of start to understand why or how you can make money like this, okay? Which brings me to my next role, and this was at a bigger tech company where I was probably earning around $60, $70 an hour, I can't quite remember. In this role, I had impact on thousands of data scientists, right? And if you know anything about data scientists, or if you've ever looked into data science as a career, they are not cheap to hire. They get paid very, very, very well, okay? Which means if you can save them time in their work, you are tremendously valuable. And the reason is because the companies, the employers, they pay these data scientists 100K, 200K, 300K, right? Every hour of their time is super valuable. And so if you can save them time, you're saving the business a tremendous amount of money. And so what I did not realize, and by the way, I didn't realize all this while I was in here. I realized this after the fact. The reality of the matter is, over the course of my employment here, they probably paid me $30,000. I can't quite remember the exact number. It was just for a few months. I probably saved them at least $100,000, if not up towards $1 million. Certainly $1 million as time progresses, right? And it was because I was able to streamline the workflow of these data scientists, right? I was able to save the business labor time, data science time, okay? And that's another example, right? And so when you start to think about business and engineering through this lens, you can understand why and how these salaries become actually super reasonable. Which brings me to number 4, where I was earning anywhere from say $127 to call it $140,000. Now in this role, I was actually one of the weaker engineers. And if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're probably pretty new to tech, you don't know that much coding, and you're just trying to learn. And this should actually make you feel better. I was actually probably one of the weakest, if not the weakest engineer at this place. But the reality is I understood business better than most of the engineers here, and that's how I set myself apart, okay? So, as a fresh employee that didn't have much experience, that didn't really know what was going on, I was able to make a 7-figure impact, right? And how do I do that? I may sell more of their products, okay? So that is all I focused on. I didn't care about changing, technically difficult problems or coding super complex things. All I focused on was how can I make this business more money? The way I did that was helping them sell more product. I made changes specifically designed to make the company sell more products. And for that reason, they loved me, all right? They're willing to pay these numbers. They're willing to give me a great salary, a great life. And if you're watching this, you can do that too. right? You can absolutely do that too. And I'll actually share how. I'll give you a little bonus at the end about how you can actually streamline your way to doing that, how you can get your foot in the door. But just know that this is the impact I had here. If you have an impact like this, you can absolutely justify a salary like this. And that brings me to my last point, where the employee over here saw the impact that I made over here, all right? And you're gonna have the same experience. Like once you have some experience, once you've made real business, tangible impact, all of a sudden you can speak with CEOs, you can speak with CTOs, CFOs, and speak very competently. Hey, look, if you hire me for this, this is the impact I can have on you, right? This is the impact I can have on you. I don't know the effects I'm gonna have yet. I know the potential scale of the effect that I can have, but look, it's like the question you need to ask yourself is, if I'm going to join a company, right, and they're going to pay me this much, what do I have to do to give them an ROI on your investment? I mean, just think about it, right? If you own a business and say you profit $100,000 a year, well, you're not going to want to go and pay an engineer $175,000 a year because you're going to be not profitable anymore, unless this engineer generates you money. And so that's exactly how you need to. Let me tell you about, like, when you are applying for jobs, most people just go to LinkedIn, they take the easy way, they just apply online and call it a day. If you can get in contact with the CEO, with the CFO, if you can express how you are going to make a tangible business impact, your odds of getting an interview, of landing a high-paying role, of skipping the bullshit that other engineers have to go through skyrockets. Because after having worked in industry, most engineers just do not understand the business component of software engineering. They don't understand why they actually get paid so much money to solve these problems. Yes, very few people in the world can do it. It's difficult. Everybody knows that. But the reality is, if you understand business, you can have a much more tangible business impact. If you can communicate that to the higher ups, you're going to make a lot more money, right? So that's kind of a recap. This is the real reason I went from $9 an hour to $175,000 a year. Most devs get this wrong. You're not going to be one of them anymore because you understand this now, right? So if you want to understand how you can break into the industry, how you can start making $175,000 a year, I've included a link down below. You've got a free training right there waiting for you, and I will see you on the other side.